In a city buzzing with holiday cheer, the Addams family readied themselves for their annual New Year trip. Their destination, Okuruta village, a place steeped in tradition and homely comforts. Little did they know this year's journey would bring an ominous twist, one that would remind all who hear it of the dangers of night travel. Inside the Addams living room, suitcases and bags clutter the floor. Mr. and Mrs. Addams, both in their 40s, organize items while their 3 children, ages ranging from 8 to 16, move excitedly back and forth. Mr. Addams, energetic, double-checking a list. Toyin, have we packed enough water for the road? The cooler is ready, yes? Mrs. Addams, smiling, carrying some snacks. Yes, deal. Snacks too. Plantain chips, biscuits for the kids. I also packed fruit juice. The journey's long, but we'll manage. Child 1, Kemi, 16 years old, eager. Mum, can I keep my phone with me the whole time? I want to take pictures once we get to the village. Mrs. Addams, laughing. Of course, but we'll keep the chargers in the front seat. We don't want your battery dying halfway. Child 2, Temi, 12 years old. Dad, can I sit by the window in the bus? I want to see everything on the way. Mr. Addams, patting Temi's shoulder. That's fine, my boy, but remember, seatbelts on. Safety first. Child 3, Lonry, 8 years old, clinging to a stuffed toy. Daddy, is Grandma waiting for us? Mr. Addams. Yes, Lonry. And you know Grandma. She's probably cooking your favorite yam porridge right now, expecting us before midnight. Despite their excitement, certain voices of caution had already emerged. Neighbors and friends had gently warned Mr. Addams, avoid traveling at night. The road is dangerous. Robbers, accidents, unseen forces. But the Addams, pressed for time, chose to depart later than usual. It was a decision that would haunt them. A neighbor's warning. A neighbor, Mama Ivy, hurries over to the Addams gate as they load up a large passenger bus, privately hired or borrowed from a friend. The bus seats 5 comfortably, Mr. Addams as driver, Mrs. Addams in the front seat, the 3 children in the back. The trunk area is loaded with luggage. A neighbor's warning Mama Ibe, concerned. Dele, you're leaving now? It's already getting late. Why not wait until morning? Mr. Addams, waving politely. We'd love to, Mama Ibe, but we want to reach the village for the New Year's Eve celebration. You know the festivities start tomorrow morning. Mama Ibe, lowering her voice. The roads are not safe at night. Please, my friend, I urge you to leave at dawn. My cousin saw suspicious characters along the expressway just last week. Mrs. Addams glances at her husband, clearly worried about the same rumors. But Mr. Addams forces a confident smile. Mr. Addams, we'll be careful, Mama Ibe. We have prayer on our side and I'm a safe driver. Don't worry. Okuruta is only 6 hours away. Mama Ibe sighs, stepping back as Mr. Addams starts the bus. The engine rumbles to life. The children chatter excitedly from inside. Mrs. Addams silently mouths a prayer, hoping they will indeed be safe. Mama Ibe waving them off. May the ancestors watch over you. Drive safely, oh. With that, the Addams pulled away, ignoring multiple entreaties to wait till morning. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with pink and orange streaks. Darkness was coming fast. The road less safe. Wide shot of the bus traveling on a 2-lane highway that stretches toward the countryside. Nightfall approaches swiftly. On either side, tall grasses and scattered farmlands. Headlights illuminate the blacktop. Occasional trucks pass by, their horns echoing. The first hours of the trip went smoothly. Laughter, music, and anticipation of homecoming. But as dusk dissolved into night, the atmosphere in the bus shifted. A creeping sense of unease settled among them. Inside the bus, the children doze off, Kemi scrolling through her phone, Temi leaning on the window, Lonray clutching the stuffed toy. Mrs. Addams's gaze drifts to the side mirror, scanning the dark road behind them. Mr. Addams hums a tune, but we sense tension in his voice. Mrs. Addams, quietly to her husband, maybe we should stop at a motel for the night. The road's too dark. Mr. Addams, glancing at his watch. We're already behind schedule, Toyin. Another 3 hours and we'll be there. We must keep going. A gust of wind rattles the bus windows. The night outside seems deeper, the vegetation along the road swaying like silent watchers. Little did they know, nature wasn't the only thing watching. In the stillness of that highway, Hidden dangers lurked, some mortal, others beyond mortal understanding. First ominous sign. The bus's headlights catch a figure standing by the roadside, waving frantically for help. It's a man in tattered clothing. Mr. Adams slows down instinctively. Mrs. Adams, alarm in her eyes. Deal no. Don't stop for strangers at night. Mr. Adams, nodding, decides to pass. You're right. We can't risk it. They pass by, but the man's desperate voice echoes as they go. Stranger, calling out. Beware the next turn. Danger lies ahead. Turn back. Turn back. The children, half asleep, barely register his words. Mrs. Adams shoots her husband a concerned look. Mrs. Adams, voice trembling. Did you hear what he said? Turn back! Mr. Adams, swallowing hard. He might be mad or something. Let's keep going. We can't trust random people on the road at this hour. Silence falls. Outside, the darkness presses in. The bus continues on, the road twisting and turning like a serpent. A sudden storm. Thunder rumbles in the distance. Lightning forks across the sky, illuminating the fields in stark flashes. Rain begins to pour, hitting the windshield in torrents. Mr. Adams struggles to see, turning on the wipers at full speed. If the warnings were not enough, the heavens unleashed a torrential rain. Visibility dropped, and fear settled deeper into each passenger's heart. Yet the Adams pressed on. Kemi, waking up anxious. Dad, slow down. This rain's too heavy. We can't see anything. Mr. Adams, tightly gripping the steering wheel. We've come too far to turn back, but yes, I'll slow down a bit. Flashes of lightning reveal glimpses of something ahead. Trees, people. Shadows skitter across the road. It's unclear if it's real or the children's imagination. Tammy, pressing his face to the window. I thought I saw someone on the road. Or was that just the lightning? Mrs. Adams, calm down everyone, let's pray. Mrs. Adams leads a quiet prayer. They bow their heads, asking for protection. The bus crawls forward at a snail's pace. The mysterious disappearance. A sudden jolt. The bus's engine sputters, then dies. Mr. Adams coasts to the side of the road, the hazard lights reflecting off the rain-soaked asphalt. Mr. Adams, exasperated. Not now. We can't break down here. He tries the ignition repeatedly. The engine refuses to start. Kemi offers her phone's flashlight as Mr. Adams pops the hood, stepping into the pouring rain to check the engine. The kids watch anxiously from inside. As the minutes dragged on, the family waited in the middle of nowhere. No passing vehicles, no sign of help. Meanwhile, the downpour masked any sound that might warn them of incoming danger. Suddenly, a faint glow appears behind them. Headlights of an old truck. It pulls up some distance away, stalling as well. Two figures emerge, but it's too dark to see clearly. Mrs. Adams tries waving them over for assistance, but they seem hesitant. Mrs. Adams, calling out, Hello, our car is stuck. Can you help us? One figure waves a flashlight in their direction. Then, strangely, both figures get back into the truck and reverse away, disappearing into the night. It's as though they sensed something even more threatening on this road. Launry, whispering, clinging to the stuffed toy. Mommy, I'm scared. Mrs. Adams, it's all right, baby. Daddy will fix the bus soon. Mr. Adams returns, drenched, shaking his head. Mr. Adams, the battery's drained. Water might have shorted something. I'll try again in a moment once it settles. Everybody, just stay calm. Unseen forces, a hush falls over the rainy night. The bus's interior lights dim. We see the children huddled together, eyes wide. Mrs. Adams repeatedly presses the central lock button, ensuring all doors are locked. Mr. Adams's phone signal is dead. No bars. What happened next became the stuff of legends in Okuruta. For hours, no one from the Adams family was seen or heard from. The bus, containing 5 souls, seemed to vanish off that lonely stretch of road. A dramatic shift to darkness. Thunder booms, flit by lightning, as if enveloped by an unseen shroud. Then the scene fades to black, suggesting a complete disappearance. Morning light, shocking news. Cut to the next morning at Okuruta village. The sun rises over rolling green hills, courtyard of Grandma Adams's compound, clay walls, a thatched veranda, and a small fire pit. Neighbors and relatives gather, uneasy. Grandma Adams, wringing her hands, Deal and Toyin should have arrived by dawn. Where are they? Has anyone heard from them? The crowd murmurs. A neighbor scrolls on her phone, shaking her head. Neighbor 1, softly. They left the city last evening, but no calls, no texts. Their phones are off. Could they be delayed by the storm? Grandma Adams, usually calm, trembles with fear. She paces. Grandma Adams, they promised they'd be here. Something is not right. Word spread quickly through Okuruta that the Adams family was overdue. Some recalled the old warnings, do not travel these roads at night. Whispers of kidnappers, accidents, even supernatural possibilities circulated among the villagers. The search party. Later that same morning, a makeshift search party of villagers sets out in a small convoy, 2 pickup trucks, loaded with concerned relatives and friends. They follow the route the Adams would have taken. Village elder, leading the group. We'll check the roadside for any sign of their bus. They couldn't have simply vanished. Everyone keep your eyes open. They drive for hours, scanning the ditches, stopping occasionally to ask passers-by if they saw a stranded bus. No luck. The morning transitions to afternoon, and dread tightens. Elder's assistant. Sir, do you think they might have taken another route? Village elder, frowning. Possibly, but Deal always takes this highway. We must not give up. Let's keep going until we find something. Anything. Strange clues. At a certain bend in the road near a small forested area, the search party halts. One of the villagers spots fresh tire tracks leading off the asphalt into tall grass. Villager 1, pointing. Look there, tracks. Looks like a vehicle went off the road. Could it be the Adams bus? They jump from the trucks, wading through the grass. The wind rustles ominously. Then they find a piece of cloth snagged on a broken branch, Mrs. Adams's scarf, recognized by her mother. Grandma Adams, voice shaking. This is Toyin's scarf. She wore it last Christmas. My God, they must have come this way. They push further into the brush, hearts pounding. Suddenly, a battered, half-submerged bus becomes visible in a shallow, swampy patch. It's the Adams bus. The windows are shattered, the doors ajar. Village elder. Everyone stay calm. Approach slowly. We don't know what we'll find inside. They inch forward, dread in their eyes. The bus interior is empty. No bodies, no sign of a struggle. But personal belongings lie scattered. A stuffed toy, half a suitcase, some snacks spilled on the seat. Neighbor 1, voice trembling. Where are they? A hush falls over the group. The swamp water ripples gently, as though hiding secrets beneath the surface. No footprints, no obvious tracks leading away. Mysteries deepen. The bus was found, but the Adams family was not. Had they been taken by robbers, or did something more sinister claim them in the night? Stories of night spirits and vanished travelers were common folklore in these parts. The villagers stand in shock, some praying, others weeping for fear of the worst. Village elder, clearing his throat, gathering courage. We must inform the authorities, but let us also gather the spiritual leaders for prayer. This feels beyond mere theft or accident. They salvage what they can from the bus, carefully documenting the scene. A local policeman arriving on a motorbike takes notes. The day drags on and tension thickens. A glimmer of hope. That evening, back in Okuruta, a vigil is held. Elders, priests, imams, townspeople gather at the village square with lanterns and candles. They sing and pray for the safe return of the Adams family. Drums beat softly, and the mood is solemn. Desperate for answers, the community turned to the power of united prayer and watchfulness. For some, it was a test of faith. For others, a dire warning never again to travel at night on those haunted roads. Suddenly, in the midst of the vigil, a panting messenger arrives, one of the younger men from the search party. Messenger, breathless excitement. We found them, the Adams. They're alive. A collective gasp. People stand, hearts pounding. Grandma Adams, tears in her eyes. Where? How? The Adams account transitioned to a remote forest clearing at dusk. A small abandoned church or mission house stands here, candles flickering inside. The Adams family huddles near the altar, shaken, bruised, but alive. The search party surrounds them, offering water, blankets. Everyone is overjoyed yet baffled. Mrs. Adams, weakly, We We can't explain it fully. After the bus stalled, strange lights appeared. We heard chanting from the trees. Then everything went dark. When we woke up, we were here, in this old chapel. Child 1, Kemi, trembling. It felt like we were floating or being carried. We saw shapes in the darkness. We tried to scream, but no sound came out. Mr. Adams, voice trembling with guilt. We never should have traveled at night. We ignored all warnings. We only survived by prayer, and maybe the grace of our ancestors. I can't recall how we got free. The villagers exchange looks, both relieved and disturbed by the supernatural overtones. Some whisper of forest spirits or hidden shrine rituals. Others suspect kidnappers who abandoned them under pressure from the search party. Back in Okuruta's main square, the family is welcomed like heroes returning from war. Music plays, but the atmosphere is subdued. There's relief, but also the weight of caution. The bus remains lost in the swamp, a stark reminder of the ordeal. Though safe, the Adams family bore invisible scars. Stories circulated about the night, about how traveling under certain conditions invited misfortune. Whether it was criminals, malevolent spirits, or pure coincidence, no one knew for sure. But all agreed. Ignoring advice to avoid night travel nearly cost them their lives. Under a large baobab tree, the elders address the gathered crowd. The Adams family stands before them, somber. Village elder, let this serve as a warning to all. We do not keep old proverbs about traveling in daylight for nothing. Caution, prayer, and heeding advice are our shields against unknown perils. Deal, we are thankful you and your family are alive. Mr. Adams, bowing head. My family and I have learned a painful lesson. We will never again dismiss the wisdom of our elders. We owe our rescue to the concern of loved ones, and perhaps divine intervention. Applause mixes with tears as the family embraces. Drums and singing begin softly, celebrating their return but also memorializing their ordeal. Epilogue and moral reflection, camera follows the Adams family some days later as they quietly repair a borrowed vehicle for the journey back home, this time in broad daylight with a caravan of friends and relatives. The sky is clear and bright, children's laughter echoes, and the atmosphere is calm. And so ends the chilling tale of a family who nearly vanished in the night. The roads of Okuruta remain, as they ever were, both friend and foe, welcoming by day, treacherous by night. Let those who hear this story remember, life's warnings are not mere chatter. They are gifts of wisdom from those who have traveled the path before. May we learn to listen, to pray, and to choose caution over convenience, lest we too vanish into the shadows of the road. Moral of the story: night travel can be perilous, not just for fear of human threats, but also unforeseen accidents and forces beyond our control. Caution, prayer, and respecting sound advice from elders and neighbors can protect us from the darkest of roads.